Another thing we can talk about is the amount of fruit that you should eat in a day for weight loss. So for this topic, we are going to look at the current recommendations for basically just health in general. So we're going to look at the recommendations for how much fruit you need to just be generally healthy. And this is what we are going to apply for weight loss, because at the end of the day, if you are trying to be healthy, you want to be at an appropriate weight. And if you lose weight, you still want to be healthy. So I just like using these recommendations because generally speaking, it's a good place to start for a lot of people, because a lot of people aren't even anywhere near these recommendation amounts. So the American Heart Association recommends 4 servings of fruit a day. And we'll talk about what a serving of fruit is in a second. On top of this, and this is kind of a maybe separate podcast, but on top of this, 5 servings of vegetables a day is the recommendation. So from the American Heart Association, I should say. So 4 servings of fruit, 5 servings of vegetables. Combined, that's 9 total servings of fruit and vegetables in a day. And for most people, if you sit back and think about it, you're probably like, man, I don't get anywhere near that amount. Even myself, who I pride myself on getting a good amount of fruits and vegetables in every single day, there are still some days where I think about what I ate during the day and I'm like, I literally had 1 banana and a small handful of cucumbers for lunch. That's like 1.5 servings of fruits and vegetables. So anyway, just something I want you to consider in your life, to kind of look back at your day-to-day diet and see for yourself how much you are either doing good or neglecting these things. It's really important. So we still need to know, like, what makes a serving of fruit? Otherwise, you might be eating all this fruit throughout the day and thinking like, oh, I'm eating all these servings. And in reality, you might only be eating like a couple. So just a few different guidelines. A serving of fruit is usually, when it's like a whole piece of fruit, is a 1 medium-sized piece of fruit. And this is the fruit that I would recommend most people to try to get their fruit from. It's going to be the freshest, it's going to be the most minimally processed, it's going to typically have the most nutrients, it's going to have the most fiber, and I think it's the easiest to track. If you have, say, 1 banana or 1 apple or 1 medium orange, that's very easy for you to say that you just have, 1 piece of fruit or 1 serving. Versus some of these other serving sizes, say a 1/2 cup of canned fruit or a 1/4 cup of dried fruit. These things are a little bit harder because most people aren't going to get out like a serving cup or a measuring cup or scale to actually measure out their food, which is what I would recommend if you're doing some of these other things. People don't usually do that when they're out and about. So those other options might not be the best just because of ease of access versus, again, 1 banana, 1 apple, 1 orange, whatever. So a 1/2 cup of canned fruit is another what we would consider a serving. And again, make sure we are getting fruit that is in ideally no syrup at all. So some of those canned fruits have heavy syrup and light syrup. I'd recommend getting the ones with no sugar added. So some of them have like Splenda in them, or just absolutely nothing in them at all. That's going to be probably your best bet, because that extra calories and the extra sugar from those calories is going to inflate the, of course, calories of the fruit, making you think, oh, I'm eating really healthy, and in all reality, you're not, because you're eating so much extra added sugar. When it comes to having a 1/4 cup of dried fruit or a 1/4 cup of fruit juice, these are both considered servings of fruit, but I would not recommend actually getting these in your diet if you're trying to lose weight. And this is simply because both of these are very, very, very hard to only eat one serving on. A quarter cup of dried fruit is very high in calories, and it's not really that much fruit at all. And that's considered a serving, right? It's very high in calories, not much food, doesn't help to keep you full. Same thing for a quarter cup of fruit juice. When you talk about the fruit juice, all of the fiber is taken away from the fruit in the fruit juice. So there's still the nutrients, but there's zero fiber. So because of this, it makes it incredibly hard to consume an appropriate amount on without over consuming on the calories. So it's just very calorie dense and very low in satiety. So besides all those, I think it'd be a good idea to give you guys a few recommendations and tools to get some more of your servings of fruit in your daily life. So some of these tips can be to simply pair it with every meal. So you could actually just have it straight up on the side. That's probably the easiest thing. You make your meal of like a sandwich, and you have a small serving of chips, and then you have an apple with it, right? Super easy, super easy. Just reminding yourself to have it with every single meal is a very good way to make it easy on yourself to get more fruit in. Smoothies, we all like smoothies. Smoothies are great too because you can add a lot of different fruits, and then you can even add some protein powder and maybe a little bit of milk to get some extra protein in there too. That's a super good way to bust out a lot of your servings of fruit for a day. You could get 3, 4, you might be able to get all your servings of fruit in literally one smoothie. Pound it for breakfast with a little bit of protein powder in there to make sure you get some protein as well. And that can be a great way to get some more overall fruit in your diet. Double downing on the fruits you enjoy. This is something that I think people don't think about. It's like, okay, I really, really like apples and I really like strawberries. I don't really like many other fruits, right? So just eat more apples, eat more strawberries. If that's what it takes to get you to be eating more fruit, to get the benefits of eating fruit, then guess what? That's going to be your ticket to doing it. It's good to have a variety, but if that comes at the expense of you only eating one serving of fruit per day, is it really worth it? Probably not. You can also mix it with other dishes. So this is something that's great because you might not even taste the fruit nearly as much. So if you aren't somebody who likes fruit, the taste of it, mixing it with other dishes is a great idea. One of the examples that I have, I love making this pork dish. Well, I'll chop up a pork chop. I'll toss in some kind of Asian vegetables, so broccoli and cauliflower. And then I'll put a little pineapple in there. So it's kind of like an Asian stir-fry dish. And that pineapple tastes really good with it. But some of those other flavors kind of take over the pineapple a little bit. So you can mix it with other dishes as a way to just get more and almost mask the fruit. But at the same time, usually the fruit does kind of come out in some aspects of the dish as well. Exploring the store is really, really fun too. You might not realize how many different fruits out there are at the store, or how many different fruits there are at the store that you forgot about. You might go and say, oh my gosh, I forgot that green grapes even existed, and I loved those as a kid. So that's a perfect time for you to go grab some green grapes. Get back on the bandwagon, get some more fruit in your diet. You'll be doing good. And one of my personal favorites and what I have for breakfast every single day is a fruit salad. So I'll usually cut up some apples and bananas and maybe some other fruit. I'll have it in addition to a Greek yogurt to make sure I get some protein in and don't just have carbs by themselves. But those fruit salads are a great way to kind of spice it up and make it a little bit better for you. At the end of the day, though, we need to remember to monitor our overall calories because you can still gain weight from eating too much fruit. Just because fruit is healthy for you doesn't mean you can't gain weight from it. If you are consuming more calories per day than you burn and fruit is the reason you're doing that, guess what? You are going to gain weight. So make sure you monitor those calories and make sure you drop a like on this video if it's giving you some good value.